Hello everyone! This is Running on Empty Food Review! Well, hello ladies, gentlemen, and everyone watching. Welcome one and all to this newest edition of the Running on Empty Food Review series. I'm your host, the Report of the Week. Thank you for checking in. A pizza review. Yeah, that's what it is. You were probably expecting me to say something beyond that, but that's all that there really is to it. It is a pizza review, though, and I always enjoy doing the pizza reviews. I think I say this probably in every single pizza review I do, but I mean, I say it because it's true. The pizza reviews are always this is the type of review that I enjoy doing the most. Mostly because I like pizza, and more often than not, there are exceptions, don't get me wrong, but more often than not, a lot of the pizza tends to be solid. You know, it tends to be at least decent at a minimum. And I always just like reviewing the pizza. So today's review is for a Papa John's release. Now, this is an instance, and I've done this before numerous times with numerous other establishments. This is an item that has already been released in the past. Papa John's first released this in 2020. I know for a fact they came out with it again in 2021, and I'm pretty sure in subsequent years they have brought it back. But every now and then, because as we know, as far as fast food goes, the quality can certainly fluctuate with time. You know, an item that can be great one year, there could be so much variability now that then, once they bring it back, something could have changed. They could have substituted ingredients, or providers, suppliers, etc., and an item that was great one year can be absolutely horrible the next. So what I always like to do is sometimes see with these recurring releases, okay, are they maintaining the standards? Is it just as good or bad as it was years ago? And if anything, what has changed? So this is an instance of one of those where I'm sort of checking in on Papa John's, seeing how things are going with them, and I've done this review twice before, so we're going to see how does the 2024 release of this pizza hold up to the previous releases. So, the Shaq-a-Roni Pizza from Papa John's has once again returned. And what is the Shaq-a-Roni Pizza? You know, you might be wondering, right? What exactly is a Shaq-a-Roni? Is this some sort of like new type of pepperoni that they've created? Is it some sort of like, you know, because there are all sorts of scientific developments and advancements, right, that are being made. Remember, years ago, you had a lot of places that were coming out with the sort of Beyond Meat, right? The sort of like plant-based meat substitutes. So is this something like that, where maybe they took like something, some sort of culture, I guess, from Shaquille O'Neal, and are cultivating their own pepperoni that way? No, that isn't the case, and I couldn't even say that one with a straight face. No, this isn't some sort of lab-grown meat or anything like that, and there is no physical connection to Shaquille O'Neal. However, there is a branding connection to Shaquille O'Neal, so that's partially true. What the Shaq-a-Roni Pizza is it is a collaboration with Shaquille O'Neal. He's described on the box as a Papa John's franchisee and Basketball Hall of Famer, sort of a celebrity collaboration. And the Shaq-a-Roni Pizza, it's an extra large pizza. It has extra cheese, extra pepperoni on it. It's in 8 slices, 8 large New York style slices of pizza, and it's available at the price of $13. So the Shaq-a-Roni Pizza, again, it's supposed to be, you know, because Shaquille O'Neal, he's obviously a very, very large basketball superstar, really. So it's essentially supposed to be, you know, a big pizza for a big guy, and that's precisely what the whole point of this is. But it is at a good price, don't get me wrong. It's an extra large pizza with extra toppings for the price of $13. That's actually a very good price. Very good, I will say. Now, in the past, I've tried out this pizza, and consistently speaking, this is one of the better pizzas that I have had from Papa John's. In 2020, I rated the pizza an 8 out of 10. And then when I tried it again in 2021, I also gave it an 8 out of 10. And Papa John's is one of those establishments where, the pizza can sometimes be very hit or miss. So the fact that it has actually gotten consistently good ratings, and I checked, makes this one of the most well-received Papa John's releases I've ever tried. So we're going to see if this streak is going to continue and if it's just as good as it has been in years past. But again, it's just supposed to be an extra large, extra pepperoni pizza at a good price. And again, it's got that sort of collaboration there. It does come with special branding. You can see right there, special box, Shaq-a-Roni from Papa John's. And there he is. Special box, Shaquille O'Neal, Papa John's franchisee and basketball Hall of Famer. So there he is, the man himself. That's literally, that is Shaquille O'Neal. He is here right now. That is him, right there. And it should be mentioned that this pizza also comes with garlic dipping sauce, as well as the famed pepper, right there. It is a big pizza, as you can see. Lots of pepperoni. And essentially, I'm just going to try it out and see how it is compared to how it had been previously. It'll be interesting to see. Let's see how well it's cut. I got a little airborne. I had to tug at it a little bit just to get that right, but there it is. It's looking pretty solid, I would say. So what I'm going to do now is try out the pizza, see if it's any good or not, and that's all that there is to it. So the Shaq-a-Roni Pizza from Papa John's, is it any good or not? Let's find out. It's going in. I've decided I'm just doing this all in one, so now what I'm doing next is I'm going to try out some of the garlic dipping sauce. Dip a little bit in there. Probably try the crust too with the garlic sauce. Just to show, you can see on the bottom it does have a little bit of a bake to it. There is a firmness to the pizza. And then the pepper, a lot of people wonder what you're supposed to do with this. Many people think that you're supposed to sort of put it through, like right there, the lapel on your suit and wear it decoratively, because obviously you're wearing a suit as well as you're watching this, but you could do anything you want with this, really, but a lot of people choose to sort of squeeze the pepper a little bit and some of the juice onto the pizza for the sake of some extra flavor, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I'm just going to wrap things up and get into the assessment. But so far, if you want to save your time, I will say so far, so good. So yeah, I'm happy with what I'm getting so far. So that's good to see. Now the camera's just staying on. So I've got to say, of the 3 times, of course counting this one, that I have tried the Shaq-a-Roni Pizza from Papa John's, I've got to say that the 2024 iteration of it, I think, is easily the best. That's my opinion anyway. I think it's easily the best. Number one, there's many things about it that, granted, it's all a matter of interpretation. For instance, when they say that it's a New York style pizza, I always I can't help but sort of chuckle a little bit because, of course, any sort of mainstream fast food takeout pizza, you can't really compare that to a local establishment, a local mom and pop place in New York itself, and to think otherwise is a bit silly. But when they say New York style pizza, essentially what they try to imply is that the slices are going to be larger, loaded with toppings. In many cases, the toppings are going to extend almost all the way to the crust, that it's going to have some firmness to it, a nice bake to it, but at the same time you could fold it if you want to. And all of those characteristics do apply to the Shaq-a-Roni Pizza. Essentially, it's a pretty standard pizza, all things considered, right? There's not a ton of things that are brand new about this, right? It's an extra large pizza with extra cheese and extra pepperoni. But what I am happy to say is that the quality, number one, is good. Like I was able to show you as I was consuming this, there's that nice bake to the pizza. So there is, nice firmness. It's not overly doughy. There is a bit of a crisp to it. There's a crisp to the pepperoni as well. This definitely has extra pepperoni. I think you could see when I held the pizza up, it definitely has extra cheese and extra pepperoni. And that was my main grievance in the previous reviews, that it didn't have as much pepperoni as I was under the impression that it would have. Well, this, on the other hand, most definitely has that extra pepperoni. Absolutely. There is plenty of pepperoni. You pretty much taste it in every single bite. So for those that really like pepperoni on pizza, which I would wager is probably the majority of people watching, you get a lot of it here. And it's not overwhelming. The cheese and the pepperoni, there's a lot of it, but it is not to excess. It is not overwhelming, nor is it overbearing, and that's good to see. So it's very flavorful. Like I said, you get that pepperoni, you get that every single bite, tiny little bit of spice, nothing too crazy though. It is a greasy pizza. It is a little oily, but even still, surprisingly, it's not excessively oily or greasy. It's not to the point where it's not enjoyable or anything. It most certainly is enjoyable. And if anything, one thing that helps balance that out is the robust tomato sauce. That sort of helps moderate things out a little bit. But also, even the pepper there sort of helps. The pepper itself, that little bit of that sort of zesty spice that it has to it, it definitely can sort of cut through any oiliness if it does seem to be excessive somewhat, so that does complement it nicely. The garlic sauce, I would say it's not really necessary for the pizza itself, but it is good for the crust. Once you reach the crust, you can sort of dip that into the garlic sauce, and that actually does complement it nicely as well. But all things considered, I mean, it's good. It's pretty basic, in so much that, again, it's just a pepperoni pizza, but it's good. It tastes good. The ingredients are fresh. They're flavorful. Good amount of them. And most importantly, it's at a good price. This is way more food, than for just one person. This is enough to probably feed a family, in my opinion, because these are big slices. They're loaded with toppings. They're filling. And again, it's an extra large pizza at that. And then to pay the price of just $13 for this whole pizza, that is a genuinely good deal. That is one of the best fast food meal deals I have seen in a while. Especially when it gets to a point where it's like there are some establishments where you get some mediocre, tiny little burger that's, $15, or you get a place where you're paying, $13 for 6 wings or something. It's like, all right, you could either pay for that, or you can get this big pizza here that's loaded with toppings that, again, could probably feed a family that is just $13. Or even just one person, you're going to have yourself leftovers, probably for a considerable amount of time, even if you're feeling quite ravenous. There's just a good amount of food here at a good price, and I certainly like seeing that. There are so many instances where it's just the opposite, so to actually get, a good amount of food at a good price, that's great to see. And quality-wise, very happy with it as well. As I said, my main grievance with this previously wasn't necessarily the fact that it tasted bad or anything, because it didn't, but that I didn't feel like there was enough pepperoni or cheese on it compared to what the what was implied through advertising. But this time around, it definitely has those extra toppings, so I'm very happy to see that. So, factoring everything in, like I said, I think this is the best iteration of the Shaq-a-Roni Pizza from Papa John's, both quality-wise, price-wise, and therefore out of 10. In the past, I gave it an 8 out of 10, but this time around, I'm going to have to give the Shaq-a-Roni Pizza from Papa John's, I'm going to give it a 9.2 out of 10. Yes, it's Papa John's, we can't forget that, but the fact is, for what it is, it's a good pizza, and that's very important there. So, yeah, very happy with it. They definitely improved here, and it's great to see. All right, on a final note, I don't know how many people this is necessarily going to apply to, but I am going to get the word out about it anyway. I'm sure many of you know by now that I do my radio show, and I broadcast it on some shortwave radio stations, as well as some AM stations. I stream it online. Number one, you could always support the show, because there's a lot of costs that go into producing it, at patreon.com/TheReportOfTheWeek. But I'm happy to announce, at least for the time being, an expansion of my radio show. So if you're an international viewer, if you're in Europe, if you're in the Middle East, or if you're in Asia, I have a new broadcast that's starting this Monday, and it's going to be airing every single Monday. And it's for those who maybe have a shortwave radio, maybe you're out there and you could never really get a good signal. This is for you. It's going to be broadcast every Monday on the frequency of 17,810 kilohertz, that's 17810 kilohertz, with 250 kilowatts of power. Very high power broadcast, and it's going to be targeting especially Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. And again, I can't necessarily guarantee results, but it's going to be going out with very high power. So if you're in any of those areas, you have a radio, maybe you've wanted to catch my show for a while, but you weren't able to, this is a good chance to do it. And here are the times that you can hear it at. Again, the frequency is 17,810 kilohertz. If you want it in writing, check the description of the video down below. It'll be there. It's every Monday at the time of 15:30 UTC, and now in various time zones. For listeners on the East Coast, here in North America, Eastern Time, that's 10:30 a.m. Eastern. For listeners in, let's say, Saudi Arabia, that would be 6:30 p.m. For listeners in Tehran, Iran, that would be 7 p.m. In Kabul, Afghanistan, that's 8 p.m. These are all local times. In New Delhi, India, that's 9 p.m. local time. Listeners on the west coast of Australia, let's say in Perth, that would be 11:30 p.m. local time. Again, every Monday, 17,810 kilohertz. It's a new broadcast of mine, 1 hour in length, at that time and frequency. Every Monday for the foreseeable future, you could find me on the air. Again, that time and frequency, detailed schedule, again, in the description down below. I know this applies to everyone, because I know shortwave radio is the hottest thing in 2024, but in all seriousness, if you do have a radio, and I know there's a few of you out there that do, this is a good chance to listen in, and something I'm doing for the fun of it. Anyway, wanted to get the word out, that way you know it exists, and with that, that's all that I have for you. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm your host, The Report of the Week.